Okay, welcome to tonight's call. I'm excited to have everybody here. We have a pretty packed house. We have some new people on the line. And I know that one of the ways to obviously build our business is to acquire clients, right? That's what we all are trying to do, as well as build our teams. And I'm glad you guys all responded to saying that, yes, it's something you want to do. You want to support our clients. You'd like to get people help, like to grow your business and your practice of being a professional health coach. So I applaud you for coming to learn. We already went through some earlier introductions, so we'll kind of get right into the training so we can be efficient with our time today. So the first thing to talk about, just some housekeeping items before we get into how to find an endless supply of clients, is let's talk about the challenge. The old challenge, I do know there was a lot of complaints from a lot of different people about the way it was run. I know that it was hard for a lot of people based on things that were going on in their lives, especially like right after the holidays and family things. And so, whether it was a great success this time versus last time, don't worry about it and get caught up in comparing, how great one was versus the other. We just have to keep moving forward, right? So, and realize that the challenge is, the idea behind the challenge is another method of bringing people into to be exposed to what we do, right? It's another way for us to support our clients now, right? When the clients see the program, they're getting, okay, wait, we have some noise, so I'm going to mute some people here. Okay. So the challenge is, as I was saying, it's another way to basically promote our program. It's a non-threatening way to bring non-clients in, and then they get exposed to Take Shape for Life, right? So, and the new format going forward, I don't know everything about it, just so you know. I've just been briefed with it from Greg Rex, who is on the committee about it. And so what they're apparently doing is they're going to be going to a 28-day challenge. They're shortening the challenge. They're making things less as far as like how much people need to lose. And they're going to be starting it on the 1st of every month. Okay? So this is how it's going to be moving forward. Now, here's the reality. You do not have to participate if you don't want to. Okay? Remember, you are an independent coach. And what Take Shape for Life is offering are different ways to bring clients into Take Shape for Life. And a challenge is a way to try to get a bunch of people. You can go to any type of business, and you could say, hey, you guys want to do a health challenge and show them what it's like? It's $20. But you get them into a room, you get them on the challenge, and it exposes them to Take Shape for Life and what we offer. And it gives us an opportunity to share with people that we would have never met what we can do for them. So the challenge is a great vehicle, but the cool thing is you don't have to do it every month, so you don't have to worry about like, oh God, it's starting, it's coming up, it's going to be the 1st, so you can decide, hey, I'm going to do the July one, I'm going to do the October one, and or whatever you want to do, okay? But it is, and what they're going to be doing as far as points goes, it's not going to be as many points, there's only going to be so many things to get points, but they're going to be, it's starting to get designed for our clients, okay? And because most clients aren't going to read the Habits of Health, but if they did the challenge, they will get the Habits of Health brought to them. And they start to learn things as they go, and then they learn about Take Shape for Life in the softest way. Now, whether your experience was this or not on this challenge, 90% of the participants said they liked the challenge and they would do it again. And they got, I don't know what the numbers are yet on how many clients were converted or how many coaches were brought on, but it's usually about 10% people are interested in becoming a coach. That's pretty good, And I know some of you experienced that last year. I know Vicky did, having about 30 clients on the program and got 3 health coaches out of it. And 2 of them became senior coach and are doing really well. One of them's on the call tonight. Christy, say hi. So with that said, the challenge is they're for that. And it's now becoming a way to support our clients. So for clients who, they don't have to do it every month, they can do it once. And if they win the challenge, meaning they hit their goal, right? They don't win a ton of money, but if they want to participate in the next one, they can roll their money over and never have to pay another ante if they keep hitting their goal. And remember, they can choose maintenance or 3%. They just have to do both, get points and hit their goal. And the key is to get points. One of the not requirements, but one of the ways to get points is to be if you communicate with your coach. Okay, so they're instead of offering points to join a Zoom, they're now offering points to communicate with their coach via text, phone, whatever it is, because we know that just having that touch is the most powerful thing for people. Just letting people know that we care about them, that we reach out and we ask them, hey, how are you doing? Because nobody else is, right? Everybody's into their own world, and it's our job to kind of reach out and touch people. And so that's one of the ways they're going to get points. So, and I think it's going to be really good. And this is where they're headed. And by no means do we have any dates on ideas of where they are now. But what they like about the platform is that they're going to move it into, they're going to create a transition challenge. They're going to create a maintenance challenge where no matter where you are on the spectrum, you can challenge yourself to be better, right? It's not always about weight loss. And for a lot of people, they love challenges, they love games, and they do really well when, that's the nature. This is our country's competitive. And so these are ways to keep people, even including ourselves, if we do a maintenance challenge for ourselves, it'd be good to keep us getting healthier and healthier. So I think that that's the general direction, which is a nice view of maybe what the years to come is going to look like. But for now, the challenges are going to roll out to this until they change it again, because God knows this is the third change. So just know that this is a living, breathing organism called Take Shape for Life. They fly by the seat of their pants to the point where they're just doing the best they can at getting people exposed to the message. And these things are created, a month, 2 months ago, and now we're implementing them. So everything is, we're all a bunch of independent people trying to figure out a way to get a message out, right? That's the whole idea, to bring people in to Take Shape for Life so they can hear at least what we have to offer. Because if we share what we have to offer in such a beautiful way, how many would you agree? A lot of people say, yes, that sounds good, but that's if we share it in a really nice way. We can also share it in a way that people go, I don't want anything to do with that company, right? That's one of those, that's whatever. So our delivery is very important. Okay, so if you have any questions about the challenge, let's open it up now. I'll take questions for a few minutes before we get into the other topic. So Shelly, I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead.
Okay. Last time it seemed like it took a while for us to get our winnings because how am I going to roll that over? It took them a while to verify if you were a winner or not and look at all the pictures. Have you heard anything about that?
That's a great point. And what I recommend, actually, if you have certain questions, you could submit them to the guy at Meltdown, Aaron, and I'll make sure if you have questions, I'll supply you his information. Okay. If you have solutions to problems that you've seen, like, hey, this is something I didn't like, can we do this? And it's a solution. You want to submit that to Greg Rex. Problems to Aaron, solutions to Greg.
Aaron's at Meltdown?
I think it's ARON at Meltdown. I have his email somewhere, but you can easily find him.
Because I think that's, like some of my clients won and they're excited to keep going, but then now I'm asking them to ante up again because they're not.
Right. So I know. So that's a great question. And I think that if they haven't addressed it yet, then that's something that they need to, right? So please send that to Aaron.
Okay. Will do.
Okay. I'm going to mute you, Shelly. And I'll unmute Michaela. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering about the co-coaching thing. I set up a room and then Shelly came on my room, so we were going to co-coach it. And it still basically looks like my room. My picture's at the top. She's just down below. I did the steps that we needed to do to add her as a co-coach. So she is a co-coach. She just doesn't look like one. Do you know if is it going to look that way, or is there any way to add her up on top?
That's another question for Meltdown Challenge. Okay, so because I don't know the answer to that, but all those questions got to go to the people who are developing it. Okay, so send that to Aaron too, and he'll respond. They're pretty quick at responding.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions on the challenge? Christy, let me unmute you. Go ahead, Christy.
I know last time you needed to have 10 total in your room to have your own room, and if not, then you needed to go with someone else. And some of you probably know how that works. I'm just a little bit nervous because people aren't signing. I think just it's so soon, so I'm afraid I might not get 10 if that's what's required this time. I didn't read anywhere about that. Does anybody know the answer to that?
From what I understand, it's not a requirement anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's just a good number to have to get momentum going with the team, right?
Yeah.
You can join me and Michaela if you don't get there.
Yeah. But you can also sit this out too until you gear up, right?
So what do I do about the person who's, they're new and it's like an acquaintance of mine, and I'm, I hate to let her go.
Yeah, so I think you can have his room very small now because it's, like I said, they're moving it into a way to support clients too.
Okay.
Right? And if it's going towards supporting clients, then it's going to be different.
And it's not that team mentality as much because you're not trying to get, it doesn't look like it's like this, you have to do this to win as a team this time.
Yeah, they're going to change some things on how they do like the incentives and things like that. I don't know if all that's been developed yet, so just kind of stay tuned to see like what they come up with. And in the meantime,
it just looks like more individual contests, which I think is probably better.
Yeah, exactly. So for a lot of people, they're going to like this a lot better, right? It's a step in the right direction on how we utilize it. We just have to learn how to utilize it. So yeah, I agree. So I would just kind of maybe sit this first one out. I'm not going to participate myself in the one starting in March. I'm just going to kind of watch it and see what happens, and that way I can understand it. Yeah.
I was just going to say, if you've already invited somebody, though, I don't know if you'd want to have them back out. So you definitely could roll into ours if you wanted, or roll into anybody else's. You could probably just contact the Meltdown people and have them combine you with somebody else. But you're more than welcome to join us if you want.
And thank you, Michaela. And if that's the way it's working, then that's great, you guys. You guys are getting to know each other here. Feel free to group together, because let's say you can't post something and Shelly can that day, or Michaela can, and it doesn't require you to have to go in there all the time and do it. And from what I understand, the way they're doing the co-coaching, Christy, is if you bring people into that room, before what happened was the person who was the main coach got all the surveys. Now they're being able to go to the co-coaches. So you get your own surveys from your clients. So I think joining Room Forces is probably a phenomenal idea. That way we all share the labor of going in and posting and liking people's comments and, working on all that stuff. People get to join a community way outside their sphere. So that's great, Michaela. Thank you for bringing that up. Mm-hmm. We should all join your room.
Sure.
Any other questions about the challenge? Okay, all right. You guys ready for the main event? Why you really came is to learn how am I going to find people and do this business? Okay. So I wrote a list of different things, and I have a few things to show you guys tonight. And this is about finding basically an endless supply of clients, right? Now, does anybody know where the endless supply of clients are going to come from? Anybody want to take a stab at it? Okay, let's see what Shelly is. Go ahead, Shelly.
Referrals.
Okay, that's one place. Where else? Jessica, we can unmute some people now. You can unmute yourself if you want to say anything. Jessica, where?
Everyone we meet.
Everyone
Our
we
own
meet.
supply, our environment, our people, our
Right.
activities.
Right, very good. That kind of is the global umbrella, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else? Iman?
The Facebook.
Facebook? Yep, absolutely. Shelly, go ahead.
Setting up a booth inside Great Wolf Lodge. I wanted to talk. I was there over the weekend. I literally, like 90% of the people needed the program, but there was no way that I could talk to them because it was just me judging every single person that I saw. But everybody there needed us. I couldn't believe how many very overweight people there were in swimsuits.
Yes.
And they have to be uncomfortable. But I can't walk up to them if we had a booth. Sorry, off
Well,
track.
actually, we're going to talk tonight about that particular subject, walking up to somebody. Anybody else want to chime in?
Just I totally depend upon the LinkedIn, my business partners through Old Business, also the Facebook, my friends who see my pictures and the transformation. All of that have the effect.
Yep, absolutely. So everything that you guys said is on this list. Plus, there's a little bit more, but everything you said is on this list. And what you have to realize is that the potential clients are everywhere. We're going to look at something specific right now. I'm going to look at, let me share my screen.
At what?
I'm going to share my screen with you guys.
I thought you said ice cream.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you guys see this?
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
You guys still see it?
It's getting too big. Oh yeah, it's good.
Is that good?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Good. So locating and connecting with clients. So this is a list on where to find people, right? And the reality is it's what Jessica said. They're everywhere, right? Bus stop, transportation, dry cleaners, bank. People are everywhere. Shopping opportunities. These are where a lot of people are looking for stuff. Office, waiting room, doctors, chiropractors, dentists, entrepreneur business opportunities, travel agents, spas, salons, daycare centers, meetings, BNI, Chamber of Commerce, social networking, Facebook, Twitter, Google. And this document, if you want it, it's in the back office, or I could send it to you easy. It gives you a few things to open with, like now that you found them, what do you say? And these are some of the top leaders in Take Shape for Life. And, you know, this is things that they say. This may or may not be for you, but you may know someone that this may help, you know, or I'm part of a great business helping people get healthy and live longer. And this may have some value in your life. Would you like to explore that further with me? You know, you just decide like what's a good approach to you. You know, when you become a health coach and get 5 clients on the program, make it pay for your own food every month. This plan is much more than weight loss, about reaching optimal health. So stop sharing real quick just so I could see everybody. So as you can see that, you know, that's a document that we all have access to. It just tells you where everybody is. And then it gives ideas of what to say to somebody, right? And the key is having a very nice opening with somebody where they don't feel like they're being sold, right? You could do it naturally. The key is but the most important thing is you know who you know, right? And you have your friends and your family, and your referrals are like the what you could call a low-hanging fruit, for lack of a better analogy, right? You got people that you know, and you have people like your friends on Facebook, and you have groups with your kids, and so you're probably around a lot more people, but sometimes it can be scary on, you know, finding a way to get into a conversation with somebody about this that you don't really know that well. So you have to kind of like find your way in. Does that make sense? Is that hard for most people or easy?
Hard.
It's kind of hard because I was in the same situation, and the mother of my daughter's best friend, she is extremely overweight, and I wanted to tell her about the diet in a way that doesn't offend her. So I was standing there with her in the morning, waiting for the kids for their show. They were having a talent show. And then I started flipping through my phone as if I'm looking for something. And I told her, oh, did I show you my picture before and after I went on that program? And it helped me to lose like 70 pounds up till now, and I'm still losing. And this is my before and after. And she told me, yeah, it's nice. Yeah, well done. Good for you. And she turned her back to me, and it was not even showing any interest. So I don't want to attack again. Otherwise, she would be like in an offensive.
And you don't, because what you did was the right thing, right? Everybody knows, like, the way in is to share what we're excited about. That's what I was going to tell you, to share what happened to us. And we can't judge and gauge what they're going to do, right? But we have to respond to how they respond. And no, she's apparently, like, she would say, oh, how'd you do that, if she was interested? Mm-hmm. So she's not ready yet, but she knows what you do.
I even went through a further step when she told me, give me your phone number. So I don't remember it at the tip of my tongue, but you know what? I have my business card, and it has my phone and email. This way you could send me a copy of the pictures that you take for the kids while the talent show. Of course, I know my phone number, but I was acting as if I'm stupid, and I just came to the country and I don't know my phone. And sometimes I play this trick.
Okay. So what you're just experiencing is responding to, the way you're doing it and what people are saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. I want to help her, really, because she's moving hard.
You can't help her if she's not ready to be helped. Okay. There's a lot of feedback coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. I think it's you, Stacy. Yeah, I needed to go for now. Anyway, okay, so you can only help people who want to be helped. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what's on this list. So, you can use the challenge, right, to promote and get new people in, right? Everybody know that, right? That's one way to find an endless supply of clients. No, more. Okay. Family and friends, right? The way to do it with family and friends, right, is to remember you got to use the getting the word out script. I recommend that you get really good if you want an endless supply of clients. First and foremost, it requires action, right? It requires action on your part. Like, they're not just going to land in your lap because you want them to, So it requires action, and it requires a massive action. It requires, like, hey, I want to become, if you want to make, say, $3,500 a month, and it requires you to have 40 clients, then you have a plan to get 40 clients. You have to figure out what you want and then make it accordingly. But it requires action. So, friends and family, right? Getting the word out and sharing with them what you do, what you're excited about, and how you're going to, see if you could get them on your follow-up newsletter. You do want to have a system for that, right? This is about generating lots of clients, and we got to have a system. So every 2-week newsletter that you can bring them into, you got to keep filling that up and get really good at not bugging people, but following up with people, right? And remember, we have the most genius script is the off the hook script, right? So you guys, if you don't know that, what it is, everybody familiar with it? Does anybody use it? Has anybody used it and had an experience with it? Was it a good experience after using it? Shelly, will you share that script? What happened with your experience?
Yeah, I had a really interested friend, and she seemed really, really interested, and she was definitely going to sign up in November, and then she was definitely going to sign up in December. And then I felt like I was really starting to bug her because I really wanted the December incentive. And so I was pushing because she was like the last person I needed. And she had been returning my calls, and then all of a sudden she didn't text me back, didn't call me back, like, and none of that stuff. And so I finally got her on the phone, and I just said, I just want to apologize. Like, I'm not sure if you're still interested. Like, your friendship's really important to me, and if now's not the right time or whatever. Like, and then she's like, oh no, I can't do it. I want to do it. I just can't do it before the 31st. I got to wait till after the first of the year. And then she finally did sign up in January. So I used a modified version of it. I don't know if exactly the script, but I pretty much said, I'm sorry if I've been bugging you. Your friendship's really important to me, and I'll stop bugging you about this. Seems like you're not interested anymore. And then I found out she really was.
Awesome. And the script is not something that you have to stick to in stone, right? The script is just like an idea. You make it yours, but there's fundamental tenets in that script that do exactly what just happened to Shelly. It's actually the nicest way you can approach people, because you basically share with them, look, your friendship's more important to me than me bugging you, which is true anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what most people just don't know to say something like this. And what it does is it puts them in a place where their true intentions will tell you, right? Like Shelly's friend said, oh no, I am interested. Where now Shelly didn't know if she was interested or not until she did that script, right? And then the client ultimately signed up. So the reason I share that is because I don't know how much people follow up, and the studies show that people need 5 to 10 exposures before they say yes. 80% of the people out there need 5 to 10 exposures, meaning that they've heard something about it, and then they saw something, and then they heard somebody else, 5 different to 10 different exposures before they trust something.
Mm-hmm.
So follow-up is so important, and this just gives you the ability to share with them that you don't want to bug them. If you feel like, hey, I'm following up a lot, I'm doing my job because they said they were interested, but then they're not returning your calls anymore. Okay, so
Gary?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I did this with a neighbor, and 2 years later, she signed up. She just signed up. And then I had a referral from a physician, and I think it took 4 months for him. Finally, he decided to sign up during Lent. So, yeah.
And Donna, thank you for sharing that, because that's just a testament to, like, the other thing you want to get really good at, which is on here, is your pre-client folder, right? Mm-hmm. Like, really master your pre-client folder, because that's your potential clients. But the goal is to fill your pre-client folder, right? With potential leads, people you meet wherever you go, and fill that, and then do your follow-up system with the people in there. And slowly but surely, people start to come around, 5 a month, 6 a month. The bigger your pre-client folder you have, the more clients you will get. Mm-hmm. So this is a way to stack that pre-client folder, right?
Mm-hmm.
One way is the challenge. You could stack it, going out and trying to find groups of people to do the challenge. That stacks your pre-client folder, right? Right there, if they're all new people. Now, going out and working with, say, physicians or healthcare professionals to get referrals. I'm going to put together a pilot group of executive directors who want to do this. So if you wanted to learn how to call on doctors to get referrals, send me an email if you're an executive director. We're going to do something separate. I'm going to be training on how to do that, okay? But you got to be at a really high level to do that, because you got to know pretty much what you're talking about when you're talking to physicians, okay? So if you want to do that, let me know. Okay, so a healthy happy hour idea, right? Now, great, Vicky, perfect. Healthy happy hour idea. Now, some of you have hosted them, right? Some of you have done them, and sometimes they bear fruit, sometimes they don't. and people gauge the fruit usually on how many people came and how many people signed up. Would you guys agree that that's kind of how you gauge it?
Could you explain to me more about the happy hour thing?
Well, not right now, but it's basically a gathering of people. I'll do it quick. It's a gathering of people, and you put what's on. It's called the Healthy Happy Hour, and you throw a little party for people. And you can do door prizes and different ways to do it, and to try to get people there. You don't have to provide an expensive meal. You can provide salad and chicken, like a lean and green, some Metapest stuff. But you can have clients there. You do testimonies, and you talk about the program and what we do. But you make it fun. You don't do like a food tasting. You can have samples, but you make it fun, and you make a little party about health. And you try to have people bring new people, right? Now, we'll talk more about that, okay? But it's a really cool way to get people together. Now, most people view their success based on how many people came and how many signed up. But the magic in this is not that. That's actually the wrong gauge. The reason why is because what you want to focus on is how many people you invite. And I'll tell you why. Not because of the numbers game of if you invite 100 people, you can expect 10 to 20 to show up, but that's the numbers. It's about 20 to 30% will show up, okay? So knowing that makes you not get kind of down on yourself that so many people didn't show up, right? Which is the problem. But here's the deal. If you talk to 100 people, the reality is 20% of them, maybe 60% of them are interested in what you had to say, most likely when it comes to health. 20% of them will say they could come, and maybe 10% will show up, okay? Let's say that's the reality. Mm-hmm. But what percentage of people said they were interested?
What?
In my analogy. I'm not showing you visual.
30.
On your memory now.
60 said they were.
About 60.
Yeah.
Would you say that about 60% of people are interested in health out there and getting healthy at some level?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So what I'm saying is it's not about who shows up. It's about the people you invited, because if they said, hey, that sounds like something interesting, but I'm busy that night. Perfect. That's okay. Can I call you about it? Can maybe we have a conversation and I can kind of share it with you and you can get one-on-one personal attention? Would you be okay with that? So the idea is that you have something to invite them to, which gives you an in having a conversation with a random person, right? Whether you're at church or you're at a gathering or you're at a place where there's trust around and you're able to do it, or however you want to do it. Inviting them to learn about health is an invitation for them, and it creates something that you're not trying to sell them on anything. You're trying them to learn about health. And yes, you will tell you can share your story and all that stuff, but you will have a high ratio of people that will want to know a little bit more without you having to walk up to somebody and just saying, hey, do you want to know more about health? Versus like having hey, I'd like to invite you to this. Does that sound like something that sounds like, hey, that sounds like I could do that. That makes sense. Or is there questions around that? Questions, raise your hand. No questions? Okay, go ahead.
I have just one question. Things were going very good with me. Then lately, because we have the Lent, my business started going really down because everything, all the food has some percentage of milk or eggs in it, except like 5 items and that's it. And the people tell me, no, we can't stay for a whole 55 days of our Lent on just 5 items, repeating them every single day for 55 days. So eventually my business and Sumaya, because we mainly deal with the Christians in our church, this is the major big community we have. So how can I get over that? How can I be creative into that?
You have to meet people outside of your church.
I tried. I am trying really hard now.
And that's what you have to just keep working on it. You know, just be persistent, because it'll happen. It's just a skill that you have to develop, and then realize that our business is very cyclical. Some people have seen it already. December, you know, we do things like this, right? January, February, March, and then, you know, then tapers off a little bit in the summer, then it goes back up again, and then September it goes up really high, and then November, December it goes down. It's very cyclical, and the idea for income is to continue to bring on new clients and continue to look for coaches in your organization that might want to coach, right? So you can build momentum around everywhere. But yes, it is a cyclical nature with clients. There's no doubt about it. Anybody else have a question on? Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
It's probably really obvious, but you know, you said if you invited 100 people and 60 people said they were interested, in your mind, are you thinking you called 100 people, or you contacted them in different ways? Like email?
That's a great question, but email is, just so you know, email sucks. Okay? It's the worst way to invite somebody. It's the worst way, unless they say, send me an email.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm not saying don't email. That's another layer, right, of a reminder. And it helps us organize meetings and stuff because we're paying attention to it. But people, this is a personal thing. So if you could do it physically, you see them, or you could call them, or you send them a private message or something like that, that will hold greater weight in them than an email. Many people have done email blasts and campaigns, and when it comes to this business, it just doesn't work because this is a trust and personal business.
But people also they'll inquire about the business through a private message to me, and I'll respond, and then they'll ignore me forever. It's just strange. It's like these are friends or acquaintances. So I just, yeah, it's even personal messages. It's like you have to call. So they're inquiring, and then what do you tell them? I'll say, hey, we should talk on the phone. It would be way easier for, you know, me to explain this. This is a little bit complicated, you know, it would be great to talk. You know, what do you think about that? And then they ignore you? Yeah. Well, then send them an email back and ask them, how would you like me to deliver the information to you? You know? Yeah, they'll say, they'll see my pictures on Facebook, and they'll private message me. How did you do that? And I'll respond. It's happened 10 times. I think that you might, then this is a good thing to train on. Like, maybe you got to give them some nuggets. I did it doing this amazing program that taught me how to. Well, tried that too. Yeah, I mean, I tried it. And yeah, I mean, that's all you can do, right? That's all you can do. There's no magic. But what we do look at is what approach are we doing? What approach are we taking? Yeah. And one of the other topics that was kind of on my agenda tonight was the word inspiration, because as a coach, that's our job, is to try to inspire them to move forward. So all I could say is that when you're dealing with people and you're responding on the private message or whatever, think about, is what I'm saying, will that inspire them? Like, oh, I did so great. I'm so healthy because I did this program. It's amazing. I love it. Thank you. And that's it. You know what I mean? Like, ways to like get them to have to ask more. You know, that helps a lot, right? Everybody agrees that there's some people that are masters at language that know how to get us to think. And the best thing we can do is just kind of learn how to do that. And we could train on that. I'm not great at it myself. I don't have it written down on how to do it, but I'm pretty good at trying to help people move forward by not giving them too much. But you're not going to win everybody. It's a numbers game. Now, so you invite those 100 people, 60 are potentially interested. You ask them if you could follow up with them, you know. And the key, though, is figuring out what your approach is on the invite, right? So we want to make sure that the verbiage, if you're going to do one, let's communicate. If you decide, yes, I want to try one of these things, let's communicate offline, and we'll figure out what you're going to say to people to try to inspire, right? To try to get them to move to action. Okay? Does that sound good for anybody who's interested in trying to try one of these? Mm-hmm. Michaela, do you have a question?
Yeah, talking to people I know, families, friends, people at church, all that stuff, that's easy. But how would you recommend us talking to complete strangers in the grocery store or things like that and inviting them to a challenge, or not to a challenge, inviting them to an event without
So,
scaring
okay,
them?
so the now here's what I know about that subject. I have never done that. So, but I take that back. I have done it in lots of different ways. Like, let's say I'm shopping for clothes and somebody's helping me. I will throw out tips to get into a conversation about what I do. I do that all the time, just so you know. I throw out little things to get into a conversation about what I do because I know that it does appeal to a lot of people. Now, in the grocery store, though, I mean, that's a place. If you know the person, if you don't, let's say you've seen him there 10 times, but you've never talked to him. And you could walk up, and here's an example, and you can say, I see you here all the time, and I don't know you. My name is Michaela. I just wanted to meet you, and then get to know them for a few seconds, and then you could say, I don't know if this is of interest to you, but I'm helping people get healthy, and I kind of talk about health subjects, and I'm hosting a healthy happy hour, and I was wondering if you had friends that may be looking to get healthy and would be interested in coming and learning about health. That's one way that you can do it, right? Now, another way is what Lydia Wint, who we talked, Michaela, you talked a little bit about her, Kim Fisk's daughter-in-law, and this is what Kim Fisk taught, and I teach it because it worked. It works for their whole team. Is the way to make connections is you got to go up to people and talk to people. And one of the things Lydia would do, and she trains on this, is you could say that I'm going to talk to 10 people and tell them what I'm excited about, 10 strangers. And one of the openings is exactly that. Hey, excuse me, Michaela, my name is Gary, and I just made a bet with myself that I would tell 10 people what I'm excited about. Can you be one of my 10? Would you be one of my 10? This is what Lydia taught from the stage. Most people will say sure, because you do it with enthusiasm of what you're excited about. Most people say, sure, that sounds good, because you're excited, right? You're telling them what you're excited about. And then when they say sure, you say, well, you don't know me very well, but I lost 80 pounds in 6 months doing this healthy program. And, I feel so good. It's unbelievable. And the company invited me to become a coach, and now I help people do it. And I'm just so excited about my new career. I just had to tell people, and then you never know where it's going to go from there. That's kind of when you have to stop. And you have to see what they say. You can't keep going. This silence is golden now. You want them to say, wow, really? If they don't say that and they go, oh, that's good, thanks, you know that you're done. That's it. You walk away. But you have to allow that other person that chance to have that wow factor, right? It's kind of written in the Collecting Yeses script, like stop and listen, right? Stop and pause after you say something. They need to engage back with you. That's how you know that they're going to engage with you and have the conversation. And you never go into detail about program. You just say that, I don't know if you know people looking to get healthy, but I have a great newsletter that kind of shares tips and inspirations. Would you be willing if I put you on it? And don't worry if they say yes or no. You're going up to a complete stranger. You realize that you'll probably get 9 no's for 1 yes, but that's still pretty high, and it may even be higher than that. Everything's delivery and how it happens. Has anybody done this approach before on the call? But you've not done it the way we're teaching it, though, right? I know you've walked up to people, but
I did it in the gym when a guy that I see every single day, him and his wife at the gym,
okay.
And then I was doing my usual training, and he told me, you are really slimming. You are fading there. I told him, well, I lost 70 pounds in less than 5 months. And he told me, wow, good for you. I told him, yeah, it's that program that I'm working on, and now I'm a health coach. And he tells me, good for you. And he moves and walks away.
Good. So, but that's different, though. That's somebody who complimented you. That's different than you walking up to a complete stranger. Right? But yes,
Yeah.
Congratulations, though, on that. That's kind of the way it happens. Now, the key here is if you're scared, how many of you think this is pretty scary? I don't know if I could do it. Raise your hand.
My heart was pounding.
Right. How many think I could do this? That doesn't seem scary at all. Okay, some people aren't voting, so I need to see hands. Is this scary? Raise your hand. Be honest. Okay. Is it something that you would, that seems easy, but you might not do it? Raise your hand. Okay. So now, thank you for your honesty there. So the reason that it is scary is this, because in reality, you're making it about you and your success. You're making it about not being rejected. You're making it about them not saying no to you. And you're taking it personal, that the reality is that they don't know who you are, and they probably think you're a freak and a weirdo for even coming up to them, and then you're bummed that they don't like you. And they, most people are on edge, right? Most people are skeptical. There's too much crazy stuff in the news for people to be sane and think that you're safe, right? So you want to not make it about you, ideally. And you want to make it about your mission and what you love about this program, because the mission is to help people get healthy, right? If you make it about hitting a goal or making money, you could come off very desperate. And desperate comes off in your tone. You start to push them and sell them and convince them and not let them go. And then they're like, get away from me. So the soft approach is to do a large scale approach to a lot of people and not care what any one of them says. Because remember, the law of averages says that, 20% will say yes. The rest will say no until they've seen it 8 to 10 times, and then they may say yes. So if you make it about just challenging yourself to go talk to 10 strangers and see if you can get them on your connections email, and then start slowly building a relationship with people. If you make it about the mission, then you won't worry about judgment, or you won't worry about rejection. Because don't worry, ideally, if you can get past that, your businesses will explode. If you can get past personal rejection and any of that stuff, or not saying the right thing, or messing it up, or bugging somebody, or offending somebody by accident, you can always use the off-the-hook script. Hey, I did not mean to offend you. That's not my, if you're learning how to communicate, or you feel like you're pushing and you know that you went down the wrong path, you have an out with that, with the off-the-hook. Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, Does that make sense? Like, you can always set things at ease. But so the reason I say that is because it requires massive action. It requires talking to a lot of people. Unless you have access to people, unless you have, access to people who are referring clients to you, and it's easy for you to get. Some people it's easy, and some people it's not. For the people who it's not, then you got to go out and do it. You got to go out and get out of your comfort zone and get really good at the pre-client folder, get really good at the collecting yeses and making connection script, because you got to go out and meet new people. And I really highly recommend signing up for like BNI, Business Network International, or the Chamber of Commerce, and just go meet people, because they set up appointments for that reason at Chamber of Commerce for you to meet other business owners to work on referrals. Donna went to the Chamber of Commerce and met a gym owner by the name of Jan, and we just signed up her gym, and she's the head coach. And the first month she made got 9 people on program. So Donna, congratulations on that. And Donna went to the Chamber of Commerce and met her.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Donna brought me in to help out, and now I'm helping, help the gym run. So these are all, you got to find people everywhere, networking groups and things like that. Okay. So the endless supply of people is everywhere. They're all over the place, but you just got to get really good at your approach, what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, what you're going to invite them to, what you're going to send them, things like that. You get really good at that, and you start moving people through the system. There's no stopping you.
How did she contact the gym owner? Like, the gym owner herself became a coach, and she started getting people on the program?
What I did was I had I went to a Chamber of Commerce Sundowners meeting, and she happened to win all 3 gift baskets. So as she was moving past me, I started talking to her, and that was it. I just, talked and found out more about what she does, because it's not like a typical gym. It's more a health rejuvenation kind of center. And we just talked and exchanged cards and talked again, and that's how how it happened. So
she became a coach, and then later on she started getting clients.
Oh, she got 9 clients the first month, because she is a very inspirational trainer herself, but she's got more than just physical training. She really wants to help people in like all areas, and she's very just really inspirational. She does personal training with everybody that comes into her gym. Has personal training from either her husband, her son, and either that or sometimes 3 people will come in at the same time, but she's over there with people. So she knows all of her clients, and she had a meeting that Gary and I went to, and she talked about what she saw in the program, adding a little bit about her gym. And then Gary, I have to laugh because it's so fun to do presentations with Gary, because you can just sit there. He does it all. In fact, I try to avoid talking because I usually stick my foot in my mouth. But and after one of his meetings was the first time he ever heard me say something other than what was ladylike. I told him that he was so good.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun.
Thank you. So the idea here, Donna met her at the Chamber of Commerce, struck up a conversation, talked about that we have a program that helps people, and then she brought me in to help out with the presentation. Okay, so I'm available to do that. You guys all know that, and that's kind of the role that I play with most.
Beautiful idea.
Third party credibility mentor role. The goal is to always bring them into the mentor in the beginning. So the idea, though, is that Donna met them at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. Otherwise, she would have never met this person. So they're everywhere. You just got to figure out ways to get into conversations, gauge interest, and then figure out the next step.
And check meetups, because if you're going to something that you enjoy, you're doing something you enjoy, but then you get to know people on kind of a weekly basis, and you can find people at meetups too.
Yeah, meetup. Yeah, exactly.
Gary?
Yeah.
Gary, you were going to ask us something earlier about offline. Would we want to? I don't know what you were asking. You were like, "Oh, when we're offline, do you want to talk
Learning
about
how to approach physicians?"
Oh no, I think it was.
Oh no! Oh,
you said too, and then somebody said something else. But no.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Maybe I did, but you have to remember.
Well, regarding this meeting with people,
yeah.
If me talking with people and getting them to come and actually, get out of their grocery store or their gym or whatever and come talk, is there some kind of a thing in the back office about these ideas about these kind of gatherings? And
for like the healthy happy hour?
Yeah. Is that in our training stuff? Mm-hmm.
There is. There's a whole healthy happy hour kit, but what we could do is we could have a conversation and talk about, we could bring in, I think, Shelly and Michaela just did their first one, and I could even, who Malka is. She's been on the calls here. She does lots of them, and Stacy's done some, so we could collaborate on what we know is the best ones on how to run one and what to do at it completely. So before you do that, before you do one, you want to know exactly, what people have done in the past and how to do it.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, Gary, could we make that like the agenda for one of our upcoming meetings? I mean, Christy and I are chatting offline here about maybe even doing something together, or with Michelle and Corey too, just all of us here in the Rochester area. So is that something we could make one of our game plans one of these next Wednesdays?
You guys want it to be a Wednesday training on this? I mean, this is not, I could easily do that. I'd have to probably bring in some guest speakers that are more experienced at it. But yeah, I could do that if you guys want that, or I could do it. We could do it.
Is anybody else interested in that? Just Christy and I, or others? Show of hands.
Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to talk about the value of the healthy happy hour, how to run it, but more importantly, remember, it's not who goes, right? That's the one thing you got to remember. Like when you throw a party, Christmas party or a birthday party, what do you look at the most?
How much fun?
How much fun, but who shows up, right? You guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is not about that, and that's the one point we got to make clear. This is not about who shows up, right? This is about how many people are invited, because the reality is that majority of people will not show up, and you don't want to gauge it based on that. You want to gauge it based on who is interested in learning more. But yes, we will make sure that you're totally dialed in on that. We'll do that as a priority. Yes, Christy.
If I don't have an event, I won't invite anybody. So
Well,
I need to have the event.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about having an event so you get out of your way to invite people to something, and it's an easy way to have a conversation about health, see if they're interested.
And we all have different personalities, and my personality is to have parties and to have people into my home and
Perfect.
hospitality and talk to people that way.
Perfect.
So that's my personality.
And that's great, but I personally think it's people who do this and they're successful have fantastic outcomes, right? Because they're good at it. It's your personality. But the key also is to remember, like, you know, when the 50% of the people who don't show up, they said they were interested. So then after your event, you get a chance to even call them one-on-one. Not try to invite them to the next one, because you can try that too. But you know, some people are just busy at busy lives, but they want to know more. They just might not be able to make the live event. So fantastic. We'll make that a priority for you guys. Yes.
You mentioned earlier that we cannot get the more information about how to talk to physicians or doctors, except if we are executive director or higher. So
yeah, you can join us if you want, since I know you're a global pharmacist. I'm going to be leading that, okay? And the reason I'm doing that is because people who are going to be talking to physicians, I need them to know this program backwards, forwards, and upside down, because they're talking to a high-level, influential person, and they need to be very well scripted on exactly what to say and how to say it. So usually people who are executive directors or higher have that ability, but you own a global pharmaceutical company, so you're more than welcome to join that training.
please, yeah, because I already signed up with a new physician, my PCP, and that guy has the business brain. Like, his clinic is not an ordinary clinic. He has a pharmacy in it. He has a body shop in it, like some products. This guy is a real business mind. So I want to talk to that intellectual part into him, how much business he could do from it.
That's not what my training is going to be on, but yes, we'll get to that. That'll be a separate training. But yes, we could talk about that for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions, you guys, or comments? Feel free. No? You guys, everybody feel good? Was this helpful for you guys tonight?
Very.
Good. Okay. So for those of you who are remember, I'm going to just remind the key points. Get really good at your pre-client folder. Get really good at making connections with strangers wherever, finding ways to get into a conversation is the key. And we could do, if you really want to do that and you're going to go after it and talk to people, let's talk one-on-one so we could develop your style and your strategy. And if you love the idea of the Healthy Happy Hour, we may do that separately than these Wednesday calls, because not everybody is going to do those. So Vicki, let's coordinate something where we can kind of dial it in. And Shelly, I know you and Michaela are interested, and whoever else is interested in doing those types of events to get people, let's make sure that happens. And just remember that you got to go out there and just talk to as many people as you can. And whatever the response is, you have to accept it. You can't push. Cool?
Cool.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
Okay. Can I ask a small question?
yes, go ahead.
I usually have a lot of questions. One of my clients, one of my very first clients, she lost like 50 pounds now, and she's asking me to become a health coach. And the problem is, I told her, okay, you could work as a health coach through your accountants or the people that you know in the school. But the point is, she is from the same church I'm in. So I told her, let's make the people at the church, they are into my territory, and you could work on people from your school. And she was like, she didn't like the idea. How should I manage this part? Because she's seeing that I'm doing great success at the church. Everybody is talking about that I'm making